some people. We should sing a song. There's a lady just here. Thanks. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Oh, is it on?
Maybe. Oh, yeah.
Oh, great.
Wow, that's loud. Hey. So yesterday at the Women of YouTube panel, you talked a little bit about how like everybody has shit days and like mental health is like a very normal thing. So is that sort of what made you want to put this in sort of like its own video so you can be like, guys, it's normal. Like, let's talk about it. Because in Canada we have one day out of the entire year we have it's called Bell Let's Talk Day. And so Bell's one of like the major film companies and they're like, guys, it's normal. Let's talk about mental health, blah blah. But it's like one day out of the year. That's not the point of this question. The question is, did you do this to help normalize it, or was it just so that you could get your own feelings out? Like, was there an ulterior motive behind it?
I have no idea. Let's start on mental health. Thank you. Not deep at all. No, it's a really good question. Why did I do this? I think it's the same reason I make anything. It starts out as just a sort of feeling in yourself or an idea or a thought that somehow has got incepted there, and you just kind of start to think about it more, and it develops in one way or another. That might be, like with a film, it might be just a scene, it might be a particular shot. I might see two people sitting in a particular place having a conversation, and then I think to myself, what is that conversation about, and what is their relationship to each other, and then that kind of develops into a scene, which develops into a story. Something like this, as I said, yeah, it was very organic, which is such a wanky word to say. It started out as wanting to, I guess, express what I was feeling in that moment about, okay, I've been down, but I'm sitting looking through this, and that's changed me a little. And even putting up my photo wall, I just had this wall of lovely photos of nice memories in my room, and that's been up and down, because I had got a lovely photo wall of me and my ex. And then he just left, and I had to take it all down, which was shit. But I put it back up with me and all my friends instead, and that like helped me through. So yeah, I think it's really important to me. I'm very sentimental and very nostalgic. It's important to me to remember the good times. But yeah, I think as I started to make it, it could have been something that I just, and a lot of people do this, you just write in your diary, or you just write a poem, or maybe you send an email to a friend. And I think whenever I do make anything, I try and address it to someone in my head. Maybe it's my future self or my past self or whatever, but I try and think like I'm talking to one person who is often some version of me, but that is often some version of everybody else, because we are kind of all in the same boat. Yeah, and then it developed, and I thought, yeah, I could make this and I could put it up, and hopefully there would be some nice message in it for other people. And I mean, as that's a bigger topic, the mental health thing and we're all crazy thing, everybody is so fucked up. But that's the nature of being human. Like, I think we go through life sometimes thinking, yeah, like, why am I not happy? I just want to be happy. And like, that's not the range of human emotion, you know, that's not how we've evolved. Like, suffering is a large part of what being human is. And without fear, we wouldn't protect ourselves, and without sadness and pain, we wouldn't learn not to make the same mistakes again. And all those things kind of have to happen. And in a way, having those means that the happy times and the good times are so much nicer and so much more important. So yeah, I think I look around at me and my friends and all of you guys. I don't know what's going on in your lives, but you've all got your stuff. And you've all got your bad days, and I think, yeah, for once, I think I usually try and entertain people with blood and gore and horror and dark shit and let them escape for a little bit from that. And this time I wanted to kind of remind them that there are good times in there as well instead. Do something nice. Hope that answers the question. Sorry, I'm being very rambly, but I'm also with this a whole hour, so I'm like, just keep talking the whole time. No, but yeah, hope that answers it. More questions? Hello, lady down here with a lovely hat.
Hi.
Oh, and that's not on. Oh, press the button.
Okay, there it is.
Hey!
So my question is, because you're in the film industry, and do you find that tough being a woman?
It's a weird one. I think, no. But I know that that's not the majority of people's experience. I'm in a very privileged position, and I have a great team of people around me, and I have a lot of people, male and female, who've been helping me out and propping me up and supporting me and teaching me. I've never really experienced any kind of discrimination, but that's probably because I've never really been on a professional set either. Like, I haven't had to work my way from being a runner to being a producer on other people's sets. The luxury that I have is that I wanted to get into filmmaking for so long, and I saw it being such a difficult thing and a difficult route that I said, fuck it, I'll just do it myself. Like, if there's no good female roles out there, I'll write them myself and I'll play them myself, or I'll write them and have my friends play them. You know, if there's no opportunities for me to direct, I'll write my own stuff and I'll direct that. And again, I know that that's coming from a very privileged place. But the first thing that I did was like funded on Indiegogo. Quite a few things I've done, I've had to kind of just fund myself, or you know, just do on a budget, and you get favors from friends. There's definitely a problem with, you know, the lack of diversity in general, and the lack of equality between men and women in the film industry. I mean, you just can't deny the facts and the figures. I did a video called Women in Filmmaking, so if anyone's interested in this topic, have a look at the video. And in that, there's some statistics about just the portrayal of women in film. In particular, I focused on kind of kids' films and stuff that's targeted at children, so that, I mean, we all know this, you're growing up and it's Disney princesses whose sole purpose in life is to get married. And they're often saved by a boy, and they can be feisty, you know, they're fun and feisty and like hardcore and badass, but really ultimately their dream is to kind of get the prince. And usually it's the guy who saves the day, and these are kind of the role models. And like growing up, certainly for me, I was born in '85, so old. And then there was like, I think probably Buffy was like the first good female role model I had, and that didn't come till I was a teenager. I don't know of any shows that I watched growing up that had, you know, female protagonists in them. They were always kind of side characters. I think that's why I latched onto Leia in Star Wars so much, and Ripley in Alien, like, because they were just, and by the way, Ripley was written as a guy. They decided last minute to change that character to a female, which is why it's so well written, because they just wrote a human being and then cast a woman, and she happened, you know, she's complicated, like men are. Funny that. So yeah, why? God, I've gone off on such a tangent. Yes, I think there is definitely a problem overall. There's a problem with the portrayal of women in film, and it becomes a bit of a vicious cycle then when girls grow up seeing women be a certain way and thinking they have to be a certain way. And then also you're growing up looking at an industry that is so male dominated, particularly behind the camera, in terms of writers, directors, cinematographers, sound design, editing, everything. Like, it's a man's world. And more women are starting to come into it, and that's great, but the percentage is just still way off. And again, that's a problem with minorities as well. That's a problem with, like, you know, black characters and Asian characters and Hispanic characters, and those people also behind the scenes writing, directing their own stuff as well. So, you know, it's a white man's industry. You look at the BAFTAs or the Oscars or whatever, you meet the committees, and they're just old white men, all of them, who I'm sure are lovely, but they're all old white men. Yeah, I think it's slowly changing. I weirdly think it's been more advantageous for me, because I think people are starting to, I don't want to use the term token, but you know, they have, I'm pitching out scripts at the moment to a bunch of networks, and they're looking for female-led content. They're looking for female writers or directors. They're looking for the next Lena Dunham or Sharon Horgan or whatever. And it is kind of to my advantage that a lot of networks now are going, oh, this is a show about white guys again, could we maybe not? So yeah, so I'm kind of getting my foot in the door because I'm a woman, which is nice, and also because I'm really talented. No, it's mostly because I have a vagina. Yeah, I think it's slowly changing. I think definitely the Tipsy Talks that I've done have been really inspiring for me. I don't know why, they just end up being women a lot of the time. Getting to talk to the likes of Margot Robbie, Amy Schumer, I just did one with Amy Adams, which isn't out yet, but I'm so excited to edit it, she was lovely. Natalie Dormer, Sophie Turner, like Jada Pinkett Smith I spoke to last year, like some of these women are just pioneering the way in Hollywood for women. and Jack did one recently with Jodie Foster, who's directed her own movie now. Yes, I think it's slowly changing. At least it's a topic. We're all talking about it. The tides are turning. I think just very, very slowly. What is nice is the amount of women I see here, and the amount of women I see at Buffer. And sitting on that panel yesterday with all those incredibly talented women who are making some really, really good stuff that isn't necessarily about being a woman. It's just good stuff across the board. So yeah, how many of you guys are like trying to get into film? Wow, cool, cool, cool. So are you like, you can't answer me. How many of you are in uni studying film? That's a couple. Okay, that's cool, that's cool. Would any of that be down to like seeing YouTubers do this? Just a yeah, not a slight nod. Okay.
What was the question?
Have you kind of thought about doing film because of YouTubers specifically doing it? Okay, that's really cool. So yeah, seeing that is really cool. And meeting you guys and like meeting people at conventions and stuff, and them telling me like I decided to do film because I see that women are doing it now on YouTube and I can do it. That's really great. That's lovely. Again, another very long answer. Hope I covered it. Any more questions? There's so many questions. I should be quicker with these. Jesus, I thought I had to like fill. Lovely person down here with makeup. That is crazy. But I don't know if it is crazy or it's just the lighting. I can't. No, it's not. I can hear you. So just.
We were at Bernie's screening today, so
They were at Bertie's screening, so they don't have like the guys in Let It Be. Cool. Oh, I thought that was nice. I saw a picture of him sitting on the edge of the stage. I thought that's so cool and quirky of him. I would do that, but I'm in a skirt. Do you want to just shout out your question to me and I'll just repeat it for everybody?
Looking back from the beginning, is there anything that you thought like, oh, I don't know if we can do this, like it's such a big thing, or you know something that you actually got to achieve?
Anything since the beginning that I didn't think I would be able to do because it was so big, or anything big that I want to do that I haven't done yet? That I have achieved. Okay, Jesus. Yeah. So Super Brainy Zombies, which to this day I despise the title of, and just a lot of what was in it as well, was my first film and was too ambitious, and it was stupid that I did that. I'd always wanted to make a film. I was super into zombies. I really wanted to make a zombie film. And then me and some guys like made a joking video about, lol, what if there was a zombie apocalypse and a bunch of YouTubers were involved? And we were like, you should make this into a film. And I was like, okay, well if you fund it, I will. And then they did. And I was like, oh shit, now I've got to do it. I didn't think I'd reach the target I needed to go, I really didn't. So they did, and my problem was I just went so big on it. It was like a cast and crew of about, I'd say over 70 people. Yeah, I just heard someone say Jesus. It was like, I think 5 days shooting, it was months of production. We had about 20 extras on set being zombies on top of all the core cast. Everyone was done in full latex zombie makeup, which took between sort of 3 and 7 hours per person. Some of them were just like Dan Layton was for like about 2 seconds of a shot, which he still gives me shit for. But he looked great. And it was huge and it was crazy and it was so overambitious and it really did near break me. There was a moment during we were doing like 16-hour shoot days, which isn't fair. Like my cast and crew hated me. I nearly fell out with all my friends over this. I had to like apologize to them afterwards. There was a moment during one of the nights where everything was just going really wrong and I was just physically and mentally exhausted. Like I couldn't take it, but I would not break in front of people. So I just was like, I just need to step outside for a second. So I went outside this cabin and it's like middle of November, it's pissing rain, it's the middle of like a park in London and it's dark, there were no lights outside or anything. And I walked outside to just get a break and walked straight into a massive puddle. And then I just stood. I didn't even get angry or anything, but that's when you know you're really fucked, is when you just go, oh, okay. I'm in a puddle now. And then I just stayed in the puddle and then I started to cry. And I just really ugly cried for a bit. And then kind of like, okay, I gathered myself and turned around to go in and someone was standing there. It's just one of the runners was just there and looking at me and he didn't know what to do. And I was like, we're never speaking of this. I will end your career right now. I would never obviously do that to someone, but I needed to be clear that he wasn't going to tell me. So that was it. Went back in, got the job done, and since then, nothing's really scared me because it was so big that like then when I went on to do a thing where there's like 3 people in a scene, suddenly that was like, I can do that, it's fine, there's no zombies in this one. Which was great. So there is a weird thing about just jumping into the deep end and doing something huge. And it's not the best thing I've ever made, it's not particularly good. I still like the premise at the core of it, but I don't think it's a particularly good film. But you know, I'm fond of it, I look back at it fondly. Everything you take on, you wonder, can you do it? Even this, we got it finished last night. It came through like in the middle of the night from poor Kaylee, who was working till about 5 a.m. Even that, like you think, oh, I'll just write a little poem, and there's like, oh, maybe I'll animate it. Oh, it should really have a score. Oh, there should be sound design on this. And actually, when you get the animation through, now I have lots of notes on this, and could she be doing this in this scene? Could she be doing that? And then it becomes like a full project, and you sort of think, oh, will I get it ready on time? And bigger things in terms of like stuff going forward, so I'm now, and I've said this a bunch of times, so sorry if I'm repeating myself for anyone, I'm trying now to sort of make the move into the actual industry. Not that YouTube isn't the actual industry, but in terms of like, you know, making a film that would have a cinematic release or making a show that would be on a network. So in between doing all the videos and trying to do the YouTube thing, I'm writing scripts. I've written one for a sitcom, I'm writing one for a feature-length horror film, which I'm really excited about. It's really fucked up, I like it. This tea's got cold, I haven't been drinking it. And I'm doing those things now, and I've got like a bunch of sci-fi stuff as well in the works. It's all just in the kind of treatment phase at the moment. But yeah, that's the big scary stuff. That's like, how am I actually going to do this? Because it's all well and good going, I'm going to write a script for a feature film, and then you sort of get the first draft, and you're like, oh, this is so huge. This is 90-odd pages of stuff, and it needs to be better, and I need to do a second draft, and a third draft, and a fourth draft, and will it ever be what I want it to be, and how will I translate that to screen? I think I'm most scared about directing, because writing I can do in the comfort of my own home. I can sit and write stuff, and it may never see the light of day, and it won't until I'm 100% happy with it, or I could go get help. But directing, like you're on set, you're behind camera, you're leading a team, you've just got to be there, you've got to know what you're doing. And I don't think I'm as strong as a director as I am a writer. So that's one thing that really, really scares me, is like suddenly being the director of a feature film or a series and not necessarily knowing what to do. I'm really scared about that, but the only way I'm going to learn is to just throw myself into it and do it. Yeah, so those are the things I'm scared of. But you have to just do them, you just have to do the stuff that you're scared of. So anyway, more questions. There's so many again, I keep talking. There's a lady down here in the front in grey. Just sign that for no reason. Have some tea while you ask your question.
Well, I'm sure you come up with many ideas.
I can't hear you. I'm going to put it real close to you.
I'm sure you come up with many ideas for things you want to film or create. How do you, I guess, know which ones you want to see through, or which ones would be worth seeing through?
That is a very good question. The question was, I come up for a lot of ideas, how do I know which ones to actually see through? A lot of it depends on what I'm capable of producing at this point. Everyone has these big ambitious ideas, and not everyone is able or in a place to make those things, which I think is why so many like student films and so many first films like Super Baby Zombies are bad, because you've been watching Hollywood your whole life. You've been watching blockbusters, and you've been watching explosions and action scenes. And can I ask everyone to just like come down the front, so it feels like more of a chat? Yeah, that'll be nicer. Except those people at the back are like, who is she? We're literally just sheltering from the cold for now. That's nicer. Oh, are you actual people? How are you guys? You good? Yeah? You have a nice day? Oh, that's nice. Yeah, I can see them better. So, today we're going to do what I like to call winging it. There is no plan. I was just like, I have an hour and people are going to be there, and I could have shown some films and stuff, and then I thought, I don't know if that's what people, like I've come all the way to Toronto to be physically here, and you guys are here, so I thought, let's just have a little chat. I thought that might be a bit nicer, because you can watch stuff on the internet whenever you want, really. So I do that. What I will do though is I'm going to screen a new video I've done. So was anyone at the Women of YouTube panel yesterday? Oh, lots, lovely. So you guys would have seen this already, so apologies that you've seen it twice. But also if you could still go watch it when it's online, and you just sort of re-watch it like a few times as well for reviews, that would be amazing. So I'm going to play this. Yesterday when I showed it, people didn't know it was mine for like a lot of it. It was like, is this Hazel? It's like, it's really nice and sentimental, fluffy and shit. What's she doing? So yeah, it's very different to what I would usually do. I will give it some context by saying it was supposed to be a part of September time of the month. I'm doing something a bit different with September, which I will tell you guys. I obviously normally kind of put together vlogs and montages and that kind of stuff, and I decided with September not to address the camera at all, which was weird. So I just set the camera up places, or I would just have it on the go, but not talk directly to the audience, just to kind of see if it felt more like a fly on the wall vibe. And I was starting to put that together, and I thought about maybe doing a voiceover because I hadn't talked to the camera, and I started writing kind of a little poem about sort of, okay, so I was having a bit of a shit time, and I started going through the footage, and it's a weird thing at times of the month. Sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it like reminds you of all the lovely things, and sometimes it's a bad thing, and you don't really want to look at lovely things because you're sad. So this particular day, I was going through it and I was like, God, look at all these nice memories, look at all these nice times I've had in September. Why am I sitting here being so sad? It's like, it's lovely. And I kind of started writing this thing about that sort of search for happiness, and about how you never seem to see it at the time. It just kind of happens, and then in the aftermath, you think you weren't happy, or you focus on the bad stuff, but actually it was all really good. And then it's quite personal to me in particular, because I'm someone who documents my life, and not that many people get to experience that. But I guess you do, even in just photos, even if you just like look back through your Instagram feed or whatever, sometimes I think you look at something a certain way, and then you go back and maybe look at photos from years ago, and you realise, God, that was actually a really nice time in my life, I miss those people or whatever. So that is what this is about. I'm going to let that play now, and know as well that the animation is by a good friend of mine, Kaylee Malloy, who is crazier than me, I think, which is difficult. It sort of goes like Louise, Kaylee, me, I think, on the scale of crazy. It totally fluctuates between the three of us. So Kaylee animated, and another friend of ours, Chloe Dungate, helped out with the animation a little bit. It's scored by Tom Barnes, and the sound design was Dan Pugsy. It kind of became a big thing. I didn't intend for it to be a big thing, but it is. So I'm going to show that now. I'm going to pop off to the side of the stage while that happens. You enjoy it, and I'll talk to you in a second.
Continue to motivate yourself to like constantly vlog.
I don't want to. It's so hard. I get it. Like, it's really draining. I'm going to try and answer this quick so we can take another quick one before yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to do it next year for that reason. And that was the reason coming up to the end of last year that I thought I was going to stop as well, so I don't know. But it does get hard. It gets hard some months. There's days you just don't want to take out the camera. There's times you don't want to vlog. What I've started doing is literally just, you may have noticed this, I'll just put the camera somewhere and just let the scene in the room play out, and just let it pick it up. I got home one night drunk, and Sammy was in my apartment. I don't know why. He was just there. Using my bathroom. And he was just there, and we ended up sitting at my kitchen table having a chat. And so I just put the camera down and filmed us having a chat. And when I sat down to edit it, it was like, okay, well there's a couple of clips of a funny thing we said here or there that I can throw in. And I think the other big thing to remember is don't underestimate the mundane stuff. Because, you know, I don't know if you guys are, you're not old enough to have done this. When I look back at like family photos from being a kid, do you know, so you only took photos when you went on holidays, and you'd have all these same posy photos beside a pool and going out dressed up at night at a hotel. And you get home, and we always called it, you gotta finish your roll, gotta finish my roll. And you have literally 3 photos left at the end of a Kodak like roll, and you'd have to just use them. So you just take a picture like of the dog, or your brother sat on the sofa watching TV or whatever, just to finish it so you can send it off. And going back through those photos at home, I realised they were my favourite ones, because all the holiday posy ones were the same. And I sometimes feel that way about time of the month. It's like, oh, cool, another red carpet. It's the same. I'm in a different dress, I'm walking down a thing, people say, I'm bored of it now, so I feel like you guys are probably bored of it now. Like, there's only so much of that you can see. And actually, when I look back on time of the month, and when I'm editing it, some of my favourite bits are when I'm just making a cake with Dan, or sitting having a chat with Dodie, or we're all just sitting around having dinner and I just leave the camera there to just capture that. So don't underestimate that stuff. That is actually important, and that's the stuff that you'll want to look back on. Like, remember the wallpaper we had, remember that sofa, God, it was so comfortable. All that kind of stuff is like what you'll want to remember looking back. So don't worry if it's not super glamorous and super fun, or you're not really feeling it in the moment. Just try and pop the camera down and get something, and then you can always not use it if you don't want to. Do we have time for another question? Could I do the last one? Yeah. Last one. Oh dear. I'm going to choose you because I haven't been over here much. Yeah, that's the one in polo neck with it looking really happy. Thank you.
Alright, so I was at the Women of YouTube red carpet yesterday, and you were actually talking to like me and my friend about, oh, what did we have to go to next? And it was the viewer and creator relationship panel.
Yes.
You said something really funny, you're like, oh, it's the don't have sex with your viewers panel. This is my question, like, I feel like I've been watching YouTube for a long time. I feel like people have a different feeling about YouTubers, like you mentioned like yesterday about like, the status between a YouTuber and a viewer, and that sometimes people can feel like the YouTuber is their friend. Well, like when someone has that like friend feeling, they can think it's okay to like go to their house, or what happened to Ariel, and they call her apartment or whatever. So how do you set those boundaries without making people upset or deterring them from your content?
I've never had to. I've been very. I think my audience are already normal. I think, like, in a way, like you put out a vibe and you attract people with that vibe. And like talking to you guys here today, you've all had kind of like similar level questions about filmmaking and stuff. And I realize we're at buffer, but you know, you're all sort of on a level. And even going through like the comments on my videos, a lot of them are like really articulate, intelligent, emotional, like, you know, good comments, or the good feedback on what I've made, or they're adding to the discussion in some way. And yes, there's like, I like your hair, but there's not that much of that. They tend to just be really engaged. I think I also have a slightly older audience, which is nice. I think it sort of skews more sort of into the 20s and 30s than it does like teenagers, who I think are probably the people more likely to do that kind of stuff. I mean, I've had some fucking weird emails. Send me your dirty underwear and stuff. But I get a laugh at it, I just forward them to Sammy. And my manager as well, sometimes I just forward that shit to them. He loves it. I haven't really, there are boundaries in terms of like the one thing, and I said this on the panel yesterday, the one thing I really, really struggle with is people coming to me with their stuff. Like coming to me saying, I had this thing happen in my life and your August time of the month really got me through that, or whatever, is simultaneously so lovely and so flattering and so rewarding, and also a lot to take on. I mean, I'm not sure if you've noticed, I'm quite emotional. I need to stop, wrap it up. Good, got that. That's the lovely lady telling me to wrap it up. She's very nice, by the way. Yeah, it's a weird thing, but I think when people kind of come to me with that stuff, I've kind of just got to a point where, you know, often if I see a comment that's, you know, about just a terrible thing that's happened to a person in their life, I'll reply and say, like, I hope you're doing well now, and I'm really sorry to hear that. If it's an email to me, that for me crosses a line. Because it's like, firstly, that's a business email address. But also, it becomes very personal, it becomes one-to-one, it becomes something that nobody else sees, and therefore could be misconstrued or could be seen as inappropriate in some way. If you sent me a tweet and I reply, everybody sees it. If it's a comment and I reply, everybody sees it. I think as soon as that becomes a one-on-one relationship, there's a danger of it, you know, just becoming weird or dangerous in some way for either party. So I just tend to avoid that kind of stuff. I tend not to like reply to emails like that. and also so that I don't make anything worse. I don't want to give the wrong advice to somebody. But in general, you guys are all lovely and, you know, really nice, good, intelligent, clever people who are all kind of just living your lives and not particularly interested in turning up at my apartment, I hope. I've not had that yet. And even if I meet people in the street, like, they're just kind and polite, and they'll usually, you know, they might come up and say hi, or, you know, just ask for a photo or something, and that's very nice. Like, I see Louise get bombarded when we're having dinner in a restaurant, like, she'll have people come over and kind of cross boundaries a little bit, but I tend not to get that. So, yes, I did call that panel "Don't Have Sex with Your Audience," but that's what it should have been called, let's be honest. Don't fuck your audience. Like, just #1 rule of YouTube, don't have sex with your fans. From there, you're pretty much good. Like, do whatever you want beyond that. Just have sex with them. Why is that a hard thing to get? Anyway, I have to wrap it up. Why I'm leaving on that note? That's such a weird note to leave it on. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Am I doing a thing? Am I doing a photo thing? No. Alright, well, let's take a selfie. Oh, goodness. By the way, I don't know if you guys can see this. This is Dodie. They painted her as Pluto, and then I zoomed in really close, and now she hates that so much. I sent it to her, and she's like, you bitch. Good. Alright, we're going to do this. This is good. How am I going to get everyone? Will I be able to? I'm not going to fit you all, guys. Could you all shuffle to one side real quick? We really need to get in this auditorium so quickly. No, that's okay. I think. No, genuinely, go over there. No, wait, go over. Go this way. Like, we don't even want to eat your stupid photo. We just have another thing to get to. I want it. This is for me. Right. If you wanted to be in it, I assume that you're there now. Really quite terrible. Have I got most of any? No. Yeah. Good.